You have a Ferrari sitting in your pocket, and most days you're using it to check the weather. That's not an insult, that's reality. Millions of people open ChatGPT, ask a quick question, maybe generate a caption, maybe settle a trivia debate, and then close it. Efficient, harmless, convenient. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If that's all you're doing, you're massively underestimating one of the most asymmetric tools ever created. This is not just another app. It's not social media, it's not entertainment, it's infrastructure. And the moment you stop treating it like a toy and start treating it like cognitive infrastructure, your entire life begins to shift. Think about how your smartphone quietly became essential. It's how you navigate, communicate, remember birthdays, manage your bank account, book travel, and track your health. Now imagine something that doesn't just organize your life, but extends your thinking. A second brain that never gets tired, never forgets what you told it, never judges your half-formed ideas at 3 a.m. when your real brain won't shut off. This isn't about replacing your intelligence, it's about multiplying it. And in a world where economic volatility, AI disruption, and global competition are accelerating across the US, the UK, and Canada, leverage is everything. That brings us to the first principle, leverage. In physics, a lever allows a small input to create a massive output. A tiny push moves something enormous. ChatGPT works exactly like that. One well-crafted sentence can generate a business strategy. One precise prompt can impress hours of research into minutes. One structured question can replace an entire weekend of scattered Googling. We've never had access to this kind of leverage before. It's like having an intern who never sleeps, a consultant who never invoices you, a researcher who works at midnight without complaint. But here's the catch, and this is critical. The quality of your output depends entirely on the quality of your input. Vague prompt, vague result. Precise prompt, strategic gold. Most people aren't underusing AI because it's weak. They're underusing it because they're imprecise. The lever only works when you place it correctly. The more clearly you define what you want, the more powerful the output becomes. That's not just a productivity hack, that's a life principle. But even when you understand leverage, there's still a barrier most people hit: starting. Think about the task you've been avoiding, the business idea sitting in your notes app, the resume you haven't updated, the side project you keep postponing. You don't avoid it because you're lazy. You avoid it because starting is cognitively expensive. Your brain doesn't hate work, it hates beginnings. Beginnings require context loading, decision-making, facing the blank page. That friction is what drains you. So let ChatGPT handle the first 10%. Ask it for the outline, the rough draft, the messy first attempt. Something imperfect but tangible. Momentum is easier than ignition. You don't need more motivation. You need something to react to. Once you're editing instead of staring at a blank screen, you're already in motion. And in economies where speed matters, where freelancers compete globally and entrepreneurs pivot quickly, speed of iteration is power. Now, let's talk about learning, because information alone is no longer scarce. Structured understanding is. Most people learn the modern way. Open YouTube, watch one video, get distracted, open 5 more tabs, save everything for later, retain almost nothing. Information overload masquerading as productivity. Now imagine having a private tutor calibrated exactly to your level. Here's a method that changes everything. Ask ChatGPT to explain a concept 3 ways. First, explain it like you're 5. That gives you intuition, the core idea stripped of jargon. Then, explain it like you're 15. That builds the framework, the components, and how they connect. Finally, explain it like you're 35. That's application, how it works in the real world, in your job, in your finances, in your relationships. Explain it simply to understand it. Explain it practically to use it. This isn't passive learning, it's adaptive learning. And in a labor market increasingly shaped by AI, automation, and geopolitical shifts, from Silicon Valley to London's financial district, your ability to learn faster than the environment changes is your edge. But learning facts is one thing. Learning to think is another. Most people use ChatGPT like a vending machine. Insert question, receive answer. Accept it, move on. That's a waste. The real power is in friction. Ask it to argue against you. Ask it to challenge your assumptions. Ask it what you're missing. Say, play devil's advocate. Force your ideas into tension. This turns AI into a thinking gym. Just like muscles grow under resistance, reasoning improves under pressure. When you externalize your thoughts and let them be challenged, you sharpen them. You uncover blind spots. You see trade-offs more clearly. In a world where misinformation spreads faster than facts, the ability to reason critically is not optional, it's survival. But even strong thinkers struggle with decisions. It's rarely that decisions are complicated, they're messy. Too many variables, emotional weight, unclear criteria. So you spin, you delay, and eventually time makes the decision for you. Instead, give ChatGPT the context. Ask it to identify decision criteria. Ask it to weigh trade-offs. Ask it to model best-case and worst-case scenarios. Structure removes anxiety because it replaces chaos with clarity. And here's a powerful exercise. Ask it to respond as your 80-year-old self looking back. What would that version of you regret? What risks would they wish you'd taken? What comfort would they tell you to stop clinging to? Perspective collapses fear. Once decisions are made, communication becomes the next bottleneck. And in professional environments across North America and Europe, communication isn't just about clarity, it's about leverage. We've all stared at an email that feels like diffusing a bomb. One wrong phrase and the deal falls apart. So you rewrite and overthink. 45 minutes for 3 sentences. Instead, paste the draft into ChatGPT. Ask it to make it clearer but still warm, more direct but still respectful. Ask how it might land for the recipient. That perspective shift before you hit send can prevent real-world consequences. Negotiations, boundaries, resignations, apologies. High-stakes messages become low stress when you have a communication coach on demand. But perhaps the most underrated use isn't professional, it's emotional. Ask yourself how you feel right now. If the answer is fine, or stressed, or I don't know, that vagueness is the problem. Emotions that are not named feel overwhelming because they're blurry. Describe what you're experiencing, the tightness in your chest, the irritability, the mental fog. Ask ChatGPT to suggest precise emotional vocabulary. Anxious, disappointed, resentful, overextended. Naming the emotion creates distance. You move from being the feeling to observing it. That shift alone reduces intensity. And then there's the 3 a.m. spiral, the looping thoughts, the quiet anxiety. In those moments, having something that listens without judgment matters. Write the worry out, raw and unfiltered. Ask for a response from your wisest self or from a compassionate mentor. You're not outsourcing your emotions, you're externalizing them so you can process them more clearly. Understanding is powerful, but change requires systems. Most people have had dozens of day ones. New diet, new productivity plan, new financial goal. Motivation spikes and then collapses. That's because motivation is unreliable. Systems aren't. Take any recurring task in your life. Budget reviews, workout routines, weekly planning. Ask ChatGPT to turn it into a repeatable checklist, a standard operating procedure, something that runs whether you feel inspired or not. In economies where stability isn't guaranteed, personal systems are insurance. They reduce dependence on mood. They create consistency in uncertain times. And then we reach identity. I'm not disciplined. I'm bad with money. I'm not creative. These aren't facts. They're rehearsed scripts. You've repeated them enough that they feel permanent. Ask ChatGPT to analyze your patterns, to identify themes in your choices, to surface values you might not consciously articulate. Then shift your language from I am to I'm becoming. Identity is not fixed. It's practiced. And if it's practiced, it can be rewritten. We started with a Ferrari analogy. Let's end with something more grounded. AI alone will not change your life. It won't wake up early for you. It won't take risks for you. It won't press send on the email you're afraid to write. But AI plus you, that's different. That's intelligence multiplied, decisions structured, communication sharpened, learning accelerated, self-awareness deepened. In a world where technological disruption is reshaping industries from Wall Street to Manchester to Toronto, the people who thrive won't be the ones who fear AI or the ones who ignore it. They'll be the ones who partner with it. You already have access. The question isn't whether the tool exists. The question is whether you'll use it intentionally. So here's my challenge to you. Don't just close this video and move on. Open ChatGPT and type something meaningful. Start the project, structure the decision, rewrite the script you've been living under, test the lever. And if this shifted your perspective even slightly, subscribe, stay connected, and tell me in the comments the one area of your life you're ready to redesign. Because the future isn't waiting, it's responding to whatever you type next.